Hello solo leveling fans, and welcome back to a new video. Now today's video is going to be a little bit on the longer side, so I want you guys to sit back, relax, enjoy yourselves, because we are going to be talking about the Workshop of Brilliant Light, from runes, skills, weapons, all the good stuff that you need to know. So before we get started though, I just want to say, if you guys find this content very helpful and useful, please don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend. But we also are still looking for people to join our guild and join our Discord server. So I just want to say, guys, we have a lovely community here on the Discord. Very active as always. We are still looking to fill up places on those guilds. We have 2 guilds currently running. One is almost full, the other is just started, and all you have to do is go to the guild apply section right here, fill out this form or fill out this application, and then post your application in the applications channel, and then I'll personally let you know that I received it, and we'll put you in one of our splendid guilds. So with that being said, guys, let's get straight into today's video. Now, Workshop of Brilliant Light. A lot of people have been struggling with it, mainly because it's the main way, like it's the hardest place to be getting, you know, artifacts. It's the hardest place to be clearing. It requires a lot of total power. There's different difficulties as well. As you can see here, there's easy, normal, and hard, and obviously depending on your total power level, you can go ahead and clear one of these stages. Now there are a few stages here, so I'm going to go ahead and use one of the raids here. We're going to complete this obviously later on the stream, so make sure to come over and say hi. But yeah, so we're going to start off by talking about the floors here and what are the best setups for these said floors. Now, the first floor that we're going to be talking about here is going to be Cerberus. Cerberus is one of the, I would say, probably the easiest floor to complete. And as you can see here, we got to focus on these 2 elements, the water element and the wind element. Now, when it comes down to Cerberus, we are going to be using the following weapons. Me personally, I like to use Grimoire, and I like to use Westwind, but it depends honestly what you guys have. A lot of you people prefer the Plum Sword with either one of those weapons, so either Westwind and Plum, or you can run Grimoire and Plum, which is obviously very viable options. Just make sure to use those weapons in consecutive order to make sure you're dishing out the most damage. So Grimoire, Plum, Westwind is really good. There's also Casca's Venom if you're not really if you don't really have a good water weapon. As you can see, you can even use the Marlin Surfboard if you know how to use it and how to adjust, like your driving skills is pretty good enough to be going for this. You can definitely go for that. Now, another thing that I want to mention here, or want to talk about here, is that there are other options that you can go for. Obviously, the sword right here, this is a good replacement for the Grimoire if you don't really have the Grimoire, mainly at A5, because if you scroll all the way down here, you'll see at A5, erosion can be stacked up to two times, and erosion basically increases the damage dealt to targets that have elemental weakness by 12%, which means that it's going to hit 24%. So this could be your replacement for your Grimoire. If you don't have the Grimoire, A1, so like for me, for example, right here, I don't have the Grimoire at A1, but if you still want that range, you can still use the Grimoire, you can still use the Marlin Surfboard, you can use Plum, and you can use Westwind. Make sure to be using one weapon with the elemental weakness, so for example, Westwind and Plum, and or you can use or you can use both weapons that have elemental weakness. Remember, wind and water are the 2 elemental weaknesses when it comes down to Vulcan and any of these stages. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the skills or the runes that you should be rocking on that stage. For Doggo or for Cerberus right here, you need to be running different runes or different skills. Now, we are going to be talking about the skills that could increase your damage and critical hit rate. Obviously, starting off with the Earth Shock here, this is a great option to go for. Death Dance Earth Shock is a great option since it deals heavy damage. You might be thinking that it's light damage, but it does still heavy break, and it also, when the skill is used, increases critical hit damage by 30% for 10 seconds, which is the main reason why we are rocking this variant right here. Another one that you can use here is going to be the light variant. It's only weak break, but it is spammable, and you can definitely use it. This skill can be used up to 3 times, so as you can see, it stacks, but it deals weak damage. So overall, if you stack up the weak damage, you'll find yourself dealing a bit of on the medium side when it comes down to the break. So that's definitely another option that you can use. Another option that you can use here is multi-strike. The water variant, in my opinion, is very good. Low cooldown, does medium break, 10 seconds only, and as long as you're using it, you can definitely spam it as much as you want. So yeah, very low when it comes down to, like, the only reason why I use this sometimes over the Earth Shock right here is, yes, Earth Shock gives you that 30% extra damage, but it's on a 15-second cooldown and does heavy break damage. This one does medium break damage, 10-second cooldown, has the elemental weakness advantage. So yeah, I would definitely use this sometimes over the over Earth Shock here, the light variant. But again, it all depends on preference and your playstyle, guys. We all play the game differently. Another very important, obviously, is armor break. That's a definite skill that you must have, and the water variant here is pretty damn good because it applies the freeze effect. Again, it does the almighty break effect, the only ability in the game that does the almighty break effect. And another great option would be the wind here, because yeah, it's also wind elemental damage, so it means that Cerberus is going to be very weak towards it, but also when it's used, it increases the target's damage taken by 7% for 12 seconds. So make sure to be using either one of these two. They're really great options. Again, just to cover everything quickly, you can go for this for the wind variant of the armor break, water variant of the armor break. You can go for the earth shock, the light variant, and you can go for multi-strike here, the water variant. So that's super important when it comes down to your skills. Moving on to your blessing stones, these are the best blessing stones. I've tested this out on multiple runs. There are other options that you can go for, obviously, but these are the best options that you can go for. So real quick here, the advanced dagger technique, the elemental weakness, bloodlust, and boss slayer, all of these are really good. Now what each one of these do is, as you can see here, the advanced dagger technique is once you hit that 70% threshold of their of the monster's HP or the boss's HP, the damage you deal increases by 5.6%. Really good. You could also use this right here, sharp perception, instead of the advanced dagger technique. This basically increases your critical hit rate and by 2% for 8 seconds. Obviously this will vary depending on the rarity of the blessing stone that you have, but it's really important to have if you don't have the advanced dagger technique. At slot 2 here, as you can see, I have weakness detection. Now weakness detection is super important because the damage dealt to targets that have elemental weakness, which you already should be having 2 weapons, or like at least 1 weapon that is doing elemental weakness. With your support hunters, it will be increased by 8%, so that's really good, and that is only at the blue rarity. So if it goes purple or gold, it will even do more damage, so keep that in mind. Another great option in my opinion is mana rampage. Now this one is, it depends on your artifacts and it depends on what runes, it depends on what weapons you're running, but you'll see here that your attack will increase by 9%, but your mana skill consumption will also increase by 12%. So it will buff up your attack, but it will make you use up a little bit more mana. You shouldn't be having too much issues when it comes down to mana, especially if you're running a weapon like the West Wind, because the basics can always help you recover some mana. And yes, a lot of people don't know this fact, but West Wind does, when you use your West Wind basic attacks, it does recover back mana, so keep that in mind when, while using it. Another option that you can use here, guys, is obviously pulverize. Pulverize is really good. It the power of break effects applies to your enemies increases by 18%, and it will also be affected, it will also affect the break effectiveness, or the break damage increases by 18%. So once you break your enemy, your break attacks are going to be 18% stronger, but once the enemy is broken, the amount of damage you're going to be doing is also 18% stronger. So yeah, that's definitely another rune that you can be going for, or another skill that you blessing stone, excuse me, that you can be going for. The last one I like to use is boss slayer here. This one is really non-negotiable. You have to equip this one. If you don't have it, that's also okay, but in my opinion, it's really good. Increase the so basically your damage dealt to bosses increases by 8%, but the cooldown of your dash increases by 15%. It's really not that noticeable, but you just have to time your dashes a little bit more, and you'll still be dishing out a ton of damage. So it's definitely on that better side of things. Now another one that I really think is good here is the new blessing stone, We Are One. Now this one right here is basically for all those people that are running same team hunters, or like, so basically mono team hunters, so water team, wind team, that kind of thing. If you're running like a full wind team as a support, or like at least 2 of your units are of the same element, this is a really great blessing stone for you. As you can see here, if there are 2 support hunters with the same element on the team, it increases Sung Jinu and the support hunters attack, defense, and HP by 3.5%. Again, this is the purple variant. And then if there are 3 support hunters with the same element on the team, it increases Sung Jinu and the support hunters attack, defense, and HP by an additional 3.5%. So yeah, this is definitely really strong because it does buff everybody up, and it buffs damage, it buffs HP, it buffs defense. So in my opinion, it's very good. And by the way, these blessing stones can be used throughout any of the stages when it comes down to Wobl or like the Workshop of Brilliant Light. These are the best ones. These blessing stones are, in my opinion, the best ones that you should be going for. Swift Strike, also another one that I don't own here. I will be covering that in a second, but it's also very, very important. It's one of the newer ones that came with a job change, and I think it's really, really strong as well. But yeah, to cover the blessing stones that you should be running, you should be going for Sharp Perception, you should be going for Advanced Dagger Technique, Mana Rampage. I'm giving all of these options, obviously. Reawakening only if you like don't have the better options. This is like at the end of the day, this is not the best one to be going for, but it will help you spam out your skills and will lower your cooldowns a lot more. Okay, next up we have the Bloodlust. This will also increase your attack and by 7%, increases your attack by 7%, that lowers the target's defense by 7%. And that is very important as well, because you'll be needing this a ton more when it comes down to the Vulcan fight later on. You can also use the We Are One, and obviously weakness detection here. This is also a great blessing stone. So yeah, those are the ones that you should be going for. Okay, so now we covered the weapons, the blessing stones, and the skills that we should be talking about. We should be covering what basically should we do when it comes down to each of the each of these stages. Now, after you've done with Cerby, you should be able to like open up the burning overpass here, and once you open up the overpass, you'll be getting blessings. Now, what blessings should you be focusing on? Or like what are the best blessings to be carrying onto the Vulcan fight, whether that's being easy, normal, or hard? Obviously, depending on the hunters that you're going to be running. I'm going to go quickly over the hunters that you should be focusing on here, because these hunters are going to be definitely your top priority when it comes down to the Vulcan fight. Now, as you guys can see here, these are my top hunters for the moment, and these hunters right here are the ones that you should be focusing on. The top 5 hunters that I have here, these are the ones that you should be focusing on. With the addition of Nam Chae Young, she is absolutely insane, especially on normal and hard Vulcan, due to the floor 25. A lot of people have been struggling on that because the monsters, they go invisible, and you could use Nam to freeze those targets, break them quickly, and be able to dish out a ton of damage. So yeah, Nam Chae Young is definitely a core unit or a solid unit when it comes down to normal and hard difficulty. In the easy mode, you can get away with things like good breakers like Jiwoo and Woo Jin Chol. These two are really, really good as well. For your DPS options, you're going to go for Alicia and Mary. There's absolutely no discussion about that. These two are must-have units if you're going to take on Vulcan. And obviously, Mei Lin is going to be super, super important for the shield phase of Vulcan to remove that shield instantly and be able to break Vulcan. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about here real quick, obviously there are other hunters or support hunters that you could use here. Min obviously would increase your critical hit damage a ton, and you can definitely go for Min here if you have the option. Me personally, I'm more into the elemental weakness kind of thing, so I would probably run things like Alicia, Meirei, and Jiwoo, or maybe replace a breaker with a support here like Mei Lin if I'm fighting Vulcan. So let's go back here to the stages, and I'll talk quickly about the blessings here like I was talking about. So the first floor here will give you a bit of blessings, and those blessings, what you want to be focusing on is what caters towards your hunters, or what will benefit your Sung Jinu and your hunters when it comes down to the next fights or the next floors. So things like Alicia would Alicia would benefit a lot from core attack and basic attacks. She will also benefit a lot from critical hit damage, ultimate damage, all that good stuff. So all these blessings are very, very important. You could also use things like break effectiveness for your breakers, or for your fight as well. This would be like a B tier when it comes down to the blessings. But things like I said here, things like the ultimate damage, things like lowering the defenses, the HP and attack of targets, or increasing the attack or increasing the amount of damage the target takes is also very, very important. So make sure to be taking some of these blessings real quick here. Now, another thing when it comes down to floor 25 here, floor 25 is really, really dependent on your breakers, and in my opinion, floor 25 on easy mode is a walk in the park if you know what you're doing. You mainly want to go for things like one solid breaker, whether that being Jiwoo or Woo Jin Chol, or like I mentioned earlier, Nam Chae Young. Those are your core 3 breakers. And then you can take 2 DPS characters here, things like Alicia and Meirei. Now with these two, you should be able to clear the stage with no problem, as long as you know your order and when to bring in your breaker and when to bring in your DPS characters. Now the most important thing to note here is obviously when it comes down to your breakers, you have to be ready to switch out the characters when you get the chance. So basically, once you get the chance to break the monsters or break the characters that you want, bring out your breakers, get the break bar down first, and then use your DPS characters to take down the monsters. Basically, that's what I wanted to say. Now, another thing that I wanted to mention here or talk about is it's very, very important to note the patterns or the fighting patterns when it comes down to your monsters. So what I'm trying to say here is, like, for example, the Vulcan fight, he will be using certain patterns or certain times that he's going to be repeating the fight over and over again, and it's very, very important to know when he's going to be like charging at you, when he's going to be using the his abilities, when he's going to be using when he's going to be like changing his form, or what phase is he going to be like using it, basically. So it's very important to note down the attack patterns of the boss and make sure that you are able to take down the boss using that thing. Now for the Vulcan fight here, there are a couple of things I wanted to quickly mention to you guys here. Obviously, when it comes down to the weapons, if you end up using the West Wind here, make sure to be stacking up your secret bullet as many times as you can. Play it safe, don't waste your secret bullet damage, because once it resets, it becomes the damage isn't really that strong as well. So the damage stacks from every time you use your secret bullet, and it stacks every time you use this West Wind ability. And as you can see here, the more advancement you get, so if you go ahead and look at this, increase the damage of secret bullet by 30%, stacking up to 5 times. So yeah, make sure to keep those stacks, because when the secret bullet fails to hit, deletes all the stacked effects, and that's the duration for 30 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. So it's really important to keep this weapon in your arsenal, advance it as many times as you can, hold on to it, level it up, take good care of it, because it will be the key to beating Vulcan, in my opinion, especially if you're taking on the easy Vulcan mode. And I just wanted to say here, for all the people that haven't done so already, don't worry, it will take some time. It's probably one of the hardest fights that you can be taking currently on solo leveling Rise, and you just need a lot of prep beforehand. If you're still struggling with any of this, by the way, feel free to join the Discord server, ask questions there. The community is lovely, we'll be more than willing to help. I'll be there to help you as well. Sometimes we even do live runs for people, help them out live on the server, so make sure to come and check it out and say hi to us. And again, like I said, guys, if you end up enjoying this kind of content and want me to produce more content like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But without any further ado, thank you so much for watching. Happy leveling. Peace.